Daddy's Head, 2024, is a chilling, emotionally charged exploration of grief, trauma, and the mysterious forces that can arise from loss. The movie begins with Laura, a newlywed grappling with the sudden and tragic death of her husband, James. The story also follows Isaac, James's young son from a previous marriage, who struggles to process the loss of both his parents. The setting is dominated by the imposing house James designed, situated near a dense forest that adds a looming, almost sentient presence to the narrative. From the outset, the film uses subtle cues, flickering lights, distant whispers, and Laura's unsettling dreams to build an atmosphere of suspense and dread. The funeral and aftermath. The movie opens at James's funeral, a somber and understated event. Laura is informed by the executor of James's estate that she inherits his architectural firm, several properties, and the house they lived in together. However, a stipulation in James's will requests that he be buried in a private garden near the house, close to the resting place of his first wife, Suzanne. Isaac, still in shock from his father's death, becomes increasingly distant, retreating into video games and avoiding meaningful interaction. Laura, feeling overwhelmed, considers relinquishing custody of Isaac, as suggested by her mother, who reminds her of her own struggles with responsibility. However, Laura ultimately decides to honor James's wishes and try to create a home for Isaac, despite the tension between them. The garden and strange occurrences. Laura begins the process of fulfilling James's burial request by visiting the garden. The space, beautifully designed yet eerily quiet, feels detached from the rest of the property. Isaac, who used to visit the garden with his father, grows visibly uncomfortable, expressing that something about the place feels off. Soon after James's burial, strange events begin to occur. Laura hears faint whispers late at night and sees shadows moving near the garden. Isaac claims to have seen his father in the forest, insisting that he is alive and calling to him. Dismissing it as a child's grief-fueled imagination, Laura reassures him but grows uneasy herself when Bella, their family dog, begins barking incessantly at nothing in the garden. Isaac's connection to the forest. Isaac's behavior becomes more erratic as he spends increasing amounts of time staring into the forest. He begins drawing unsettling images of his father with distorted, almost monstrous features. When questioned, Isaac insists that James has changed and warns Laura not to enter the forest. A pivotal moment occurs when Bella runs into the woods one evening and returns injured, as if attacked by a wild animal. Laura contacts local authorities, but they find no signs of a predator. Isaac, however, believes the forest is harboring something dangerous and possibly supernatural. Unraveling the past. Desperate for answers, Laura delves into the history of the house and garden. She discovers old journals written by Suzanne, James's first wife, detailing her fascination with the garden's energy and its connection to the surrounding forest. The entries become increasingly erratic, mentioning voices and a presence that seemed to watch her. Suzanne's death, originally attributed to illness, is hinted to have been under mysterious circumstances. Laura also learns that James became reclusive in the months leading up to their marriage. His colleagues mentioned that he frequently visited the forest, speaking cryptically about wanting to protect Isaac. The presence in the forest. Isaac's encounters with the mysterious presence in the forest escalate. One night, he hears his father's voice calling him and ventures outside, only to be stopped by Bella. The dog fiercely protects Isaac from an unseen force, growling and barking into the darkness. When Laura finds them, Isaac is trembling and muttering, "It wasn't him, it wasn't Dad." Laura's skepticism is shattered when she experiences the phenomenon herself. She hears James's voice while walking near the garden and catches a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure resembling him. She begins to question her own sanity, wondering if grief is distorting her perception of reality. Confrontation with the unseen. Determined to confront the source of the disturbances, Laura and Isaac venture into the forest together. The scenes in the woods are tense and atmospheric, with every rustling leaf and distant animal call adding to the suspense. They come across a clearing where the air feels heavy, as if charged with energy. In the clearing, they discover an altar-like structure surrounded by symbols carved into the trees. Laura recalls similar symbols from Suzanne's journals, which described rituals meant to anchor a soul to the earth. Isaac becomes entranced, claiming he can feel his father's presence. Suddenly, they are attacked by a shadowy, humanoid figure that exudes a terrifying aura. Bella intervenes, but the creature injures her before retreating into the forest. Laura and Isaac escape back to the house, shaken and terrified. Revelations and sacrifice. Laura pieces together that the garden and forest are part of an ancient ritual site designed to trap spirits. She realizes that James may have unwittingly tethered himself to the land during his visits to the forest, possibly in an attempt to remain connected to Isaac after death. Isaac insists on returning to the forest, believing he can save his father. Despite her fear, Laura agrees to accompany him. They perform a ritual outlined in Suzanne's journal, using symbols to release James's spirit from the land. Character dynamics and emotional depth. The heart of Daddy's Head lies in the strange yet evolving relationship between Laura and Isaac. At the start of the film, Laura is portrayed as hesitant and unsure of her ability to take on the role of Isaac's guardian. This uncertainty is compounded by Isaac's cold demeanor toward her. He sees Laura as an outsider who could never replace his late mother or his recently deceased father. However, as the film progresses, their shared experiences of terror and loss bring them closer. Laura's protective instincts grow stronger as she begins to understand Isaac's grief and the depth of his connection to his father. Likewise, Isaac, despite his initial resistance, comes to see Laura as someone who genuinely cares for him and is willing to fight for his safety. Their bond is solidified during the climactic moments in the forest, where Laura risks her life to help Isaac complete the ritual. This act of bravery not only cements her role as Isaac's caretaker but also allows him to see her as a source of strength and comfort. The psychological element of grief. One of the film's most compelling aspects is its exploration of grief as both a personal and supernatural force. Laura and Isaac's mourning manifests differently. Laura experiences guilt and self-doubt, while Isaac's grief takes on a more vivid, almost hallucinatory form. The film raises questions about the reliability of perception in the face of trauma. Are the shadowy figures and voices real, or are they projections of unresolved emotions? This ambiguity keeps the audience engaged, blurring the line between psychological horror and supernatural events. Symbolism in the forest and garden. The forest and garden serve as central symbols in the narrative, representing the boundary between life and death. The garden, described as a place of beauty and tranquility, becomes a site of unease after James's burial. It acts as a gateway to the forest, where the true horrors lie. The forest, dense and impenetrable, symbolizes the unknown. Its oppressive atmosphere mirrors the characters' emotional turmoil, and its rituals represent humanity's desperate attempts to control death and the afterlife. The altar-like structure in the clearing adds an element of ancient mysticism, suggesting that the land has long been a site of spiritual unrest. The role of Bella, the family dog, plays a significant role in the story. Her instinctive reactions to the unseen presence in the forest serve as an early warning system, alerting Laura and Isaac to danger. Bella's protective actions during key moments, such as when she defends Isaac from the shadowy figure, underline her loyalty and bravery. Bella's injuries and eventual recovery mirror the emotional journey of the human characters. Just as Bella heals from her physical wounds, Laura and Isaac begin to heal from their emotional scars. The ritual and its consequences. The climax of the film hinges on the ritual to free James's spirit. This sequence is both visually and emotionally intense, blending supernatural horror with raw human emotion. The ritual's success depends on Isaac's belief in his father's love and Laura's determination to protect Isaac at all costs. The release of James's spirit is portrayed as a moment of catharsis, both for the characters and the audience. However, the lingering shadow in the final scene suggests that the ritual may not have completely severed the connection between the land and its dark history. Cinematic style and atmosphere. The film's visuals play a crucial role in building tension. The cinematography captures the eerie beauty of the forest, with its towering trees and dappled light creating a sense of both wonder and menace. The house, with its modern design juxtaposed against the natural setting, serves as a metaphor for the clash between rationality and the supernatural. The use of sound is equally effective. Subtle whispers, rustling leaves, and Bella's growls heighten the sense of unease, while the absence of sound in key moments emphasizes the character's isolation. Epilogue and open-ended conclusion. In the final scenes, Laura and Isaac are seen trying to rebuild their lives. Laura begins to embrace her role as Isaac's guardian, and Isaac starts to open up to her. The garden, once a source of fear, becomes a place of reflection and healing. However, the faint shadow in the forest leaves the audience with lingering questions. Is the land truly at peace, or does its dark legacy persist? This open-ended conclusion invites viewers to interpret the story in their own way, ensuring the film stays with them long after the credits roll. Daddy's Head, 2024, is a haunting, emotionally resonant film that blends supernatural horror with a poignant exploration of grief and family. Its rich symbolism, compelling characters, and atmospheric setting make it a standout entry in the genre. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.